Okay, good. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, I am Brian Ockeltree with DoublePositive, and today's topic is kill your broken sales process. And again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. Shouldn't be any more than an hour of your time. We're hoping to wrap up content in 30 to 45 minutes, and then we're going to open up the floor for questions. So presenting today, we have two folks, Ryan McClintock, who is the Business Development Manager for Leads360, and Joey Liner, one of the founders and EVP here at DoublePositive, and he is the man here at DoublePositive for sure. So I expect a good show. Hey, Joey and Ryan, you guys might want to mute your phone while you're not talking, if you can. So real quick, a couple webcast instructions. As you may have noticed already, we use Citrix GoToWebinar, and the way their product works is that everyone is muted, so we cannot hear you, though you can hear us. And that's good, by the way, because this is a very large group. We're going to have over 100 people on this call, and the cumulative background noise would be horrible. So hopefully you guys can hear us fine, but we cannot hear you. However, we are hoping to make this as interactive as possible. There's two ways that you guys can interact with us, and I have a screen up here to show you. There's one way is for you to raise your hand. You'll see a little hand button. I have it highlighted here in yellow, and that will allow you to raise your hand, and I will see that. I can then call on you and unmute your phone. I don't know that I'll be able to do that today with a group this size. Sometimes that's tough. But I'd like to make sure you guys can hear me okay and do a test. If you guys could all raise your hand real quick, and let me make sure that you guys can hear me fine and my instructions make sense. Okay, there we go. A bunch of hands are being raised. So perfect, perfect. So I'm going to unraise your hands now. And probably the best way to ask questions would be to simply type your questions into the question box. You'll see it over in your control panel on the right. You type your questions. What we have found to be best is if we save the questions till the end. Feel free to ask your questions whenever you want, and I will moderate the questions and present them to the panelists at the end of the show. That way everyone can hear the question and the answers as well. We can all benefit from other people's questions. Also, I'll be monitoring them during the event, so go ahead and shoot the questions over whenever you have them. If I see something that's time sensitive and there's an opportunity to interrupt the presenter, I'll do that. But most likely we'll hold them till the end. And also, should you guys get so darn excited during this that you want to pick up the phone and talk to either of our companies, we have people standing by. The 800 numbers for both of our companies are at the bottom, so feel free to give us a call. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to throw things over to Joey Liner from DoublePositive to start things off. So Joey Liner, you got control, man.
All right. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. Wanted to thank you all for attending today. We have been working with Leads360 since both of us started our companies back in 2004, and you know, we are just very excited today to give you guys a webinar on how we work together. We're going to first start off by just going over each one of our products individually, and then I'll come back on afterwards and discuss actually how we work together. Both companies are, you know, service providers that really work closely in the online lead generation space through multiple verticals, and our common goal is to help our clients get a lot more out of their leads. And you're going to see that here in the presentation, and specifically the hot transfer aspect of it. So DoublePositive started in 2004. A couple guys and my partner Sean Fenlon and Syed Zaidi, we got together, and we came from a company called theloanpage.com, which you see here, and that's where we just sold mortgage leads from the internet, and that was mainly during the refinance boom. And we partnered, or we were close to the folks next to us in the same campus as advertising.com and Under Armour. So we recently actually just moved out of that campus and are across the water in the downtown Baltimore Harbor, and our office is actually up here facing the water. We have a great view of the city, and some of you folks may have been here actually to see it firsthand. Now, we are a venture-backed company. We have raised money through different venture capitalists through the course of our company life cycle. And by doing that, it's helped us to really invest a lot of money to perfect this or champion this hot transfer process, this live call process. We do have 12 employees, and we've done over 2 million hot transfers since we've been in business. Also, just another good story about last year in the online space in Baltimore is a company called Bill Me Later. They were actually sold to, some of you may remember seeing it towards the holiday time, they were sold to eBay for $820 million and also $100 million in options on top of that. So great company and definitely getting a lot of press in the Baltimore area. So it's always good to be to recognize folks because not many online companies are well recognized in this region. So we do business in mortgage, debt settlement, online education, and insurance. Here are some partners that we work with within each vertical. These aren't all the partners specifically, but some of the key partners that actually have worked with us for years or some recently. So, and we'll get into that in some more detail here shortly. So a typical sales process, if you're an internet lead buyer, and you give whether it be yourself or you give leads to your sales folks to dial, they spend at least 50% of the time trying to make contact each day. And 50% in some instances is conservative. We've seen as high as spending 60 to 70% of your time trying to establish contact. But out of that 50%, 30% of those folks will actually acknowledge that they did fill out the form and they are interested. So we call a contact, going back to the 50% number, we call a contact anybody that picks up the phone. It could be, I didn't fill out the form, I don't have time right now. Therefore, that's why we go down to the 30% number, which actually will tell you, yes, they actually did fill out the form and they're interested. However, 20% will only allow you to start the sales process. So out of that 30%, they may say, call me back an hour from now, I don't have time, and then, or my spouse is the one that makes the decisions and they're not here right now. So we've seen across all verticals typically that 20% of the time, if you do it yourself, that you can start the sales process by just buying your own internet leads. With the process with our company, we want to prove to you that you can spend 100% of your time selling because we're going to take care of step 1 and step 2. And keep sales folks more productive by selling 100% of the time. Now, this slide I love to share with folks because no matter what vertical I'm in or what industry event I'm attending, trade show or just a face-to-face talking to folks, they never calculate time in their client acquisition cost. I don't understand this. I don't know why. And I think a lot of folks, especially in the online lead generation space, do a great job of calculating their acquisition cost. It's measurable, like by using whether it's Leads360 software or just being able to do it from their own proprietary calculations. They never factor in time into this calculation. So my example up here is you could spend a penny per record or 5 cents per record on a raw list, spend about 90% of your time trying to establish contact and sell one deal, and maybe you could say you only spent $100 to close that deal or $500 to close that deal, but it took you a long time to do that, to establish contact. And same thing with an internet lead, going back to that 50% contact number. Therefore, hot transfer, again, 100% selling. It's a live call, live interested consumer that goes directly to the sales organization. So to get into that, into detail of the actual 3-step process of how we operate, the consumer expresses interest over the web. They fill out a form at one of those partner sites that I listed earlier in the presentation for requesting a quote, whether it be a mortgage quote, an insurance quote, an online, education, and then we take that step where we actually feed that lead to our call center in real time to establish the live contact. And their sole purpose there, folks, is to confirm the consumer's intent and interest in having a meaningful conversation. We're not a company that schedules callbacks, so if we're not appointment setters. We're going to connect somebody that is ready to have a meaningful conversation now about the product that they're inquiring. Step 3 is actually where we tell the consumer we're going to place them on hold and connect them directly to the sales floor.